Theater is a dying industry. Any actor has probably heard this saying before, but is it true? All the signs point to yes. The Guardian estimates that 25 to 30% of audiences have yet to return to theaters. Broadway's gross in the 2022 to 23 season was 17% lower than that of the 2018 to 2019 season. 40% fewer shows were programmed in that same time frame, and nationwide we see theaters closing. But why? These numbers aren't par for the course in any terms of regression in theaters. It's much worse than that of the 2001 to 2002 and 2008 to 2009 seasons in recent history. This leads me to believe that theater isn't dying, but that we are killing it. To see what others thought, I went and asked members of our theater department to see how they felt about it.
Hello, I'm Connor Beck, and I'm here with
Maxwell.
Laurelyn Dykes.
Gavin Frick.
Danny Miller.
I'm Jared Barr.
Olivia Strickland.
Shooter Suka.
Kane Rios.
Oakland Callister.
Riley Ian Sable.
T-Lay.
Mo Elliques.
Peyton Rios.
What roles have you played here at Decoy Creek?
I've played roles of the Wolf in the musical Into the Woods, Officer Lockstock in Urinetown the musical, and I'm currently playing Emmett Forrest in Legally Blonde the musical that opens this April.
Mamma Mia, Into the Woods, Riki Tiki Tavi, The Beach Princess, Urinetown, The Outsiders, and Legally Blonde.
I've done Mamma Mia. I've done Patter for the Floating Lady, Haunted Carousel, The Ugly Duckling, Into the Woods, Urinetown, The Outsiders, and now Legally Blonde.
I've been part of Mamma Mia my freshman year. I was in Into the Woods for crew. I did Urinetown, and then I just did Legally Blonde.
I was part of run crew for Into the Woods. I was then Senator Phipp in Urinetown, and I played Aaron Schultz in Legally Blonde.
All right.
I've played Milky White. I've played The Beach Princess, Josephine Strong, and I'm currently playing Brooke Windhead.
Well, tech-wise, I started last year for Into the Woods, and I was assistant stage manager for Stage Left. And then this year, I was also assistant stage manager Stage Left for both Urinetown and Legally Blonde. And acting-wise, I was one of the lead roles as Soda Pop in Outsiders.
This year I was Little Becky in Urinetown and Elle Woods currently in Legally Blonde.
Performing would be Into the Woods and Legally Blonde, and then I worked on some set design stuff for Mamma Mia, and then hair and makeup for Outsiders.
At Decoy Creek, I've been a part of Legally Blonde, Into the Woods, Urinetown, Mamma Mia, and I worked tech for Steel Magnolias and Beach Princess.
I've been Ponyboy Curtis and Jeff, the understudy.
So I've been a part of Mamma Mia, Steel Magnolias, Into the Woods, Urinetown, Outsiders as Sandy, and most recently we just finished up Legally Blonde.
So starting, I got here my sophomore year, and my first show was Into the Woods, their musical in the spring. I was Cinderella's Prince, and then after that, in the fall of the year after that, I was in Urinetown, and then after that, I was in Legally Blonde.
Has anyone ever told you that theater is a dying industry?
I've heard that before.
You did, yeah.
I hear it every day.
I have heard that phrase.
Yes.
Yeah, I have been made aware of that.
No, not specifically, I think, but I've definitely thought that theater is kind of dying.
I've never been personally told, but I've seen videos and articles saying that theater is not as popular as it used to be. I've never really heard that before, to become quite frank with you.
I used to hear it a lot. I don't hear it as much anymore, though.
Yes, actually.
Not necessarily, no.
No. Well, except for you that brought up the idea to me.
Who told you that?
Mostly people I didn't care much for.
I don't remember who, but I know my parents didn't love it that much.
Literally almost anyone growing up.
My teachers, my family, my friends.
My old theater teacher.
Fairly positive it was a combination of people. I'm pretty sure Mr. O'Leary was one of them.
Yeah, would you agree with that it's a dying industry?
I think some parts are and some parts aren't.
I would agree with that.
Hell no.
No.
No, I wouldn't think so at all.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it coerces me to agree.
No, not really.
I'd agree to some extent. I feel like it is currently in a valley
I would. I definitely would.
Honestly, I disagree. I think that theater is a completely bustling industry.
No.
Broadway tickets are currently at an all-time high. Why do you think that is?
I think that's because people are getting back out there after COVID and the whole shutdown. And I think the whole 2020 shutdown inspired people to go back out and to see that arts are thriving again.
The shows are just getting more clout behind them, and more and more people are wanting to go see these shows with these great amounts of like hype behind them, and yeah.
Honestly, I think people are just capitalizing off the fact it's in New York. I think since New York is so popular that they just raise the prices just because they can. Also with our economy, I think that it would be smarter if they would lower the prices because it makes it more accessible to people. I will say it just comes with like the exclusivity of it. There's only so many seats in a theater, and especially recently with like new movies coming out about shows, I feel like it increases almost the demand for it. So like Wicked is going to be sold out for the next, like it's been sold out since the movie came out. Because people will go, oh, I want to see the source material from it. And I think there's a thing of live performance and it draws people to it. Like there's a reason why movie tickets only cost $23 and Broadway show tickets for the nosebleeds go for $100.
That again shows why Broadway, and not just Broadway, but theater around the world, is currently on a steady decline. Not terrible, but because the demand for it is lower, so for them being able to stay on Broadway, they need to bring in more money so they could give back to the community.
Disney?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you want, would you like me to expand on that topic?
Sure.
So, starting with like The Lion King in the 90s, like Disney has like boomed so much on the musical front. Like especially with like their big hits like The Lion King and like Aladdin and stuff like that. All that stuff has hit Broadway and they've just popularized the musical so much like in modern history. Like it's like phenomenal.
It's probably rare to see a really good show, so in my opinion, Broadway's known for having spectacular visual effects, acting, performance-wise. So probably rare for people to actually see that and feel that. So it's probably more expensive. That and like tariffs, probably.
I think it's because as productions get bigger and bigger, it becomes more expensive, and as demand becomes lower and lower, then they're going to raise the prices, so they'll still make money while having less people.
More people are coming to see shows. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that informed. Take this with a grain of salt. Because
I think it's because people are sick of seeing the same shows over and over again on TV and movies, and so seeing it in person is a much different experience.
Because it's in New York.
The people they're putting up there are known people, so they are charging more for that. And they need the money. Like, you can't, for how much a show costs, just to put it on one night, you just need to make money, not barely be afloat.
Well, because, I guess people are, really wanting to see the shows, you know?
Do you think that the fact that Broadway attendances can't reach 80% capacity, that the ticket prices have something to do with it?
Yes, I believe that Broadway ticket prices tend to be extremely overpriced.
I mean, yeah. Like, that would only make sense, right? Like, demand, supply and demand, stuff like that. Well, if people really wanted to see it, they would buy the tickets. Like, do you have any price metrics or anything like that?
Average Broadway ticket is $126.
Holy. And on average, did you take all the ticket prices and average them between seats? Okay. So that means maybe like balcony seats would be like what? Like $50, $75? 90?
About 90
Okay.
for an upper mezzanine.
Interesting. Well, I know that's definitely like prevented me from going and seeing shows just like in my locally. Like I went and saw Hamilton back in Dallas, and it was $100 for literally the corner balcony seat. But then again, that's like one of the most popular musicals of all time. But I mean, yeah, I could see how that could correlate with like dropping attendance and like stuff like that. Yeah, I could totally see it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd believe so, just so they can keep making money instead of, if they kept it the normal price and people stopped showing up, They wouldn't make any money, and they need money.
I don't know. I think it could, but I don't know. I feel like it just depends on the person.
Maybe. It could be possible. I don't know. Maybe we should lower prices on tickets. I've never been that informed on this issue. I would say that definitely correlates.
Maybe it's been too high.
Definitely. In my life, I've definitely not gone to see a show just because it was too expensive. I think the fact that shows are becoming more and more expensive is going to encourage people not to go because it's only 2.5 hours or 3 of a show for maybe $200. Mm-hmm. While yes, it is fun and exciting to go see a live show of maybe your favorite show, a lot of people are starting to think that the price is not worth it, which is kind of sad because theater is a beautiful thing and it can portray a lot of important messages in life, and for how people are responding to what's going on in the world today, government stuff, the wars that are going on around the world.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of Broadway shows, you can find them on streaming services. Like you can find, or there's a movie version of them, and so not only that, but then it doesn't make sense for people to go out of their way to pay these absurd high prices and just to go see the shows.
Maybe some people aren't willing to pay, and also I feel like cost for live theater has gone up too, making ticket prices more expensive, for increased material prices as well to build sets and to keep everything running basically.
However, Broadway isn't the only market facing these issues. Regional theaters were polled, and 74% said that they faced a decline of 10% or worse. Tickets in these theaters still averaged out to be $35 to $60. Given that most regional theaters follow a subscription format, their role to bring theater to more people seems harder. Regional theaters are meant to lessen exclusivity, but do they?
Regarding regional theaters, do you feel that a seasonal subscription is beneficial to the theaters that sell them?
100% beneficial. Whether or not it's beneficial to the subscriber, because it's mostly a lot of money.
I would say so. It's also good for the community because if you look even at FSCJ or you look down at the Dr. Phillips Center or those theaters in Tampa, they really bring together a community that comes even if it's just once a year or once every couple of months.
Yeah, I'd say so because no matter what, like if I buy a season pass for the Limelight and I can't make one of the shows, they're making money off me during that pass. Even though I'm not going to see the show, I paid the whatever amount of money to go do the season tickets worth of shows.
Yeah, because at least you know someone's always paying, and I guess they don't have to come see the show if they're busy, but they're still paying the money, so you're still at least making some money.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think it may be more beneficial because more people will buy them.
Yes, because especially, I mean, we've seen it with Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, all that. People are going to be willing to pay a monthly subscription rather than just a one-time price, because if they have this commitment to it, then they'll be more likely to go see more shows.
I think that at the prices they have set for that, it's beneficial for the theater itself, but I don't think it's beneficial in succeeding to the customer, so getting more customers.
Yes, I think it is. I think it introduces kids to actually be able to do more theater.
I think so. I think if people can see the layout of what the theater has to offer, it would promote them to want to see more and be like, wow, I like multiple of these shows, and then they get the money income from multiple things rather than people being like, oh, I only see this show, I'm not going to buy it, and then them wasting the opportunity for the money.
Of course. I mean, if you have people that come to one show and they're impressed, and they're a routine theater goer, that could totally be beneficial to a company. I mean, I know a few season ticket holders at Limelight. They enjoy going to the shows, and well, financially, I'm not sure if you would have to what I'm trying to say is, does it benefit the theater to give out season tickets for stuff like that? Would it benefit them financially? Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know. You would have to divvy up because how do you really value a ticket?
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Because they set the prices.
Right.
So
Like, and
it's-
how much is the show worth? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
how much did they spend to put that show up?
Yep.
I feel like it depends. Like, I don't want to say it depends because I feel like it's a important question, but I think it really does because, like, there's always the chance that somebody could pay for it and then not use it, so then they get that money, but then they still have the tickets. So in case they do want to do end up going, that's nice.
Doesn't fill the seats, yeah.
But then again, if people don't go that often and they just do, and they don't buy the seasonal thing, like it depends. It can impact it in a great way, but other times it just falls flat.
Yes. Do you feel regional theaters do a good job at lessening exclusivity of live theater?
Yes, they do. Always very typically very inclusive, and most casts you'll see are pretty broad, wide range of diversity, and yeah.
I think some do, based on prices and shows, but not all of them.
Yeah, actually, I think I haven't even been, like, say Limelight, for example. I haven't been there yet, personally, and I really want to go there, and I think that the knowledge of them and their shows, that brought me more into theater, and I haven't even been there yet, so, but yeah, and, like, especially people here at Tukoi theater community, I think they really get brought together from doing the shows at, like, regional theaters and seeing them, like, oh, have you been here yet to see it? It's a really cool thing to see, so yeah, I think they do.
I'd say to an extent.
Yes, of course. I mean, if you have it on smaller, like, levels and stuff like that, like, and, like, of course it's going to. Like, I mean, I've went and seen more local shows than I've seen professional shows. Like, I've seen going with the schools and stuff like that. Although that doesn't really qualify, but I've seen more, yeah, I mean, of course.
Some do. Some are really good at advertisement and, like, on social media platforms and on bulletins, but I think it really depends on the marketing team that they have.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know some people aren't able to make it to those bigger shows, and a show's a show. Like, no matter who's in it, if you can't afford Broadway, it's still going to be great at a regional theater.
Sometimes yes and sometimes no. I think that in instances it brings it to people that are able to afford it, but to the people that, like, I think would benefit from seeing shows that are put on don't have the chance to go see it.
I would say yes.
Yes and no. I think it's great that shows are able to tour and go around the world so people can see them and see how amazing they are, but it's still very expensive. I recently just saw Les Miserables at the Moran Theater in Jacksonville, and we were in the nosebleeds and tickets were still like $120.
I would say so, because it draws in people that maybe have not been in theater for a while, especially, like, I've heard Mr. O'Leary talk about it on the basis of, like, he says he has older women that come in and who haven't been in theater for 20, 30 years, but now they're finding this love and they're finding this passion, and I think that's what regional theater is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a growing point. I myself am going to be doing regional theater this year as an assistant stage manager. I'm really excited.
Another problem live theaters face is costs. Even though there was a 46% drop in expenses from 2017 to 21, an NWTW article showed that the public theaters laid off 19% of its staff, and The Guardian shows that recruitment and retention costs are only rising. This might be a factor for the 20 to 40% decrease in shows produced nationwide. The NEA estimates that 8,000 nonprofit theaters collectively suffered a 22.6% decline in gross receipts between 2019 through 22.
Why do you think there's been a 20 to 40% drop in shows produced nationwide?
Because people just keep regurgitating the same things, and so it's harder to come up with new ideas.
Again, I think that a lot of people are aren't seeing it as, what's the word, like an importance. They're not seeing it as like a necessity anymore, because you have all of these different, like, I'm not going to blame it on technology, but you can literally just go on YouTube and watch a show or have an experience that's full front. Maybe somebody prefers movie theaters to a live show. But yeah, not only are prices rising, but I think a lot of people are losing interest in general.
Funding. Like, especially right now, with budget cuts in the government and taking away money to programs that teach theater. It's not getting out there, and I think it's dumb.
I think that there's been a drop just because of the cost of everything going on.
It's definitely a costly industry, and if you don't, it's very hard to compete with Broadway because a lot of people will see like the Broadway show and cast out any like regional productions.
I mean, like, COVID is up there. Like, that's probably number one. But that doesn't make sense because it's been, like, we're so far removed from that.
Maybe because people are being discriminated against for being such shows.
Creativity is just gone, honestly. People in this day and age, I feel like with the AI problem and everything, I think people just don't have their own creativity, and you just don't see it much in society.
Maybe it's just like the entertainment industry is more moving towards cinema more than is live theater, so...
I think partly it has to do with people not wanting to go see not enough original ideas. We've been seeing a lot of like adaptations into shows, which personally I don't like. I think it's decreasing the creativity, and they're not wanting to see a story through a new perspective. They're wanting a new story, and they're wanting a new perspective on something that they've never thought of before.
I'd say COVID definitely took a big hit.
Again, it shows the lower demand of theater, and it's just the world we're living in right now. And unfortunately, theater, at least in my view, in my eyes, is what the world needs right now.
Maybe the public is losing interest in the theater. Maybe people don't like the arts anymore. Maybe it is dying. I don't know. I was about to say that exact thing.
Could the fact that donations dropped 40% since the pandemic be a cause of that?
100%.
I think yes. I think the pandemic has definitely lessened the theater industry.
Yes.
Yeah, probably. Definitely.
Could the fact that donations dropped 40% since the pandemic started be also a cause of that drop in production?
Hey, so it sounds like yes. That's why.
That makes, like, room for, like, commentary on, like, our economic state as a nation. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, yeah.
I just think people, once you drop out of something, it's not going to come back. It's going to be harder for it to come back, you know? Like, the show SpongeBob was a hit, but COVID killed it. It's still one of the most loved shows ever, but it's just, once it's gone, it's gone.
Yes, people are more scared to go out now, and a lot more people are working from home, and they don't necessarily want to go out and socialize because it's more easy to get sick with that.
Probably not.
Another factor to this could be the audience demographic. The average age of a Broadway attendee is 40 years old, the lowest it's been in 20 years. However, a survey by The Guardian shows that the least likely age range to attend was 45 to 54, the most likely 16 to 19-year-olds. A survey by Civil Science in 2022 shows this to be similar, with 74% of people aged 35 to 54 not attending live theater, but 54% of people aged 18 to 24 do attend. Could the problem be that it's not accessible enough?
What age range do you think is most likely to attend live theater? Old.
Honestly, I think 20 to 30s throughout 50s.
16 to 9.
There's quite a few young people, but honestly, it's all the older people.
As much as I would love to say it's the younger age range, it's pretty much the older age range.
Probably older people. That's most of the age range I've seen when I go see shows is people 50s and above.
Like, above 60?
Well, there's a lot of stuff you could take into account, like, I mean, like, I feel like the older, like, people are more likely to, like, use their money on expenditure like that because they're more financially stable. But, like, I know a ton of younger people that enjoy it too. And I can't really speak to that because I don't know, like, I only see the people that are in, like, in the house, you know what I'm saying? Like, and to be fair, I don't really pay attention to that so much, but I don't know, I think theater's for everybody.
I would think either like a young age, elementary school age, and then an elderly age, so people who are retired or people who afford a well enough living that they can spend money on theater.
I would say 20s to 30s, maybe, if you had the money. But I could also see a lot of older people, like 40s, 50s, 60s.
Maybe saying like maybe their family's not into it. I say maybe ages 10 to 14 would love to, but I don't think they would actually maybe be able to go except once in a while if their parents aren't necessarily into that. So probably I would say factually wise maybe late teens, early 20s.
It's always going to be the elderly, and it always has been, and it always will, just because they're the ones with the money, and the higher the Broadway tickets go, the more people are going to be spending money on them.
I think really old people or really young people.
Usually, either older people or who are retired and are looking for things to do, or the younger audience, like high schoolers, who do it at school and they're like, wow, I'd really love to go see it.
The most likely to attend is 16 to 19, but the average Broadway attendee is 40 years old. Why do you think there's such a change?
Because of how costly it is.
I think because they have the most money.
Maybe because on Broadway, like the 40-year-olds can afford it, and the 16 to 19-year-olds cannot.
Because of the prices. A 16-year-old cannot afford a $100-something ticket.
Well, I would say money is tight as well.
Because the 16-19 can't pay for it.
I'd say it's because of the messages. People used to go for entertainment, but now I feel like a lot of shows are being made to tell a story rather than to tell a story of entertainment. And it truly is a beautiful thing. It truly is. It brings together these young groups of people who are inspired, and whether they go into the industry or not, they're inspired every day by the stories that they create.
Nostalgia, honestly.
16, 10-year-olds, they want to go see the show, but they don't necessarily have the means to pay for those tickets, while those people older than like 40 they have a full-time job. They are able to save more easily, and they can just go see a show when they want.
I mean, they're still under the responsibility of their parents. Like, they can't get there themselves.
That's true.
And like average age of 40, like that's middle age.
Yeah.
So therefore, everybody.
Maybe they got bored or something. Well, maybe they're going with them. Maybe that's actually a really good question. I think that a lot of people who are working in that industry are either like on the older. I'm not saying 40's old, but I'm saying it starts to get on the older side, and then or they're on the young. So I think that that's just the other part of it, in my opinion. So I think it might just be what they grew up with, and that's what they stuck with.
I think younger kids don't have the access or the funds to be able to go to the theater, since you mentioned like the prices are so high. I think that age range, you know, when you're in your 40s and you've had a job, hopefully, for a few years, you have the income to actually go to that. So.
Could ticket prices be why this younger demographic doesn't attend?
Yeah, because they're more expensive, so the older people are going to have the money to do it.
Absolutely, 100%, yes.
Yes, 100%. Because I mean, like, 100%. Not all of them have jobs. And all of them are still living under their parents' roof. Some of them might not have a car. I mean, yeah, there's tons of factors that could go into that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's definitely big. If I try and buy tickets for me and my girlfriend, that's $60, $70, and that's ridiculous. It's very, very expensive, and it makes it almost impossible to see some shows.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Again, because the younger demographic, it would be, unless they can pay for it themselves, it would be their parents. It would be people that they would have to ask.
Yeah.
How can theaters expand to this younger audience?
I think by setting their prices lower, or just offering an opportunity like to shadow, or just I don't know, probably just setting prices lower.
Maybe relate to younger ideas. I don't know, younger themes. Incorporate, I don't know, oh, it pains me to say this, maybe incorporate more pop culture references. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. It would suck, because I like classic theater. I like that shit a lot. I don't care. I like that shit a lot.
I think, honestly, seeing what sells in other theaters and looking at the statistics of who's going, and how much like they charge for people to go. I think if they took in data from other theaters, it would help. And seeing like what the age range is in the shows, seeing what those shows are about, and producing or putting on shows with that same plot.
I would say make everything cheaper.
Student nights or certain nights that a certain like only students can go, or just ways to get more of the younger community involved. So I would say programs like that.
Definitely, I think dropping prices would help. While shows are getting more big and expensive, I think maybe having student discounts would be great, especially for kids who are aspiring to do any form of performance in their life. It is good to go see how professionals do it, and it would be helpful because it can help inspire them to realize I can do this, and it is realistic to want to be a performer.
Just the basis of like, you have to get the word out. Like, it's hard to reach that younger audience, especially because theater does not have a good social media following, because that is typically how the younger generation gets their news, to say. And typically it's posted on like a website. That's not publicized. So it's just the older Americans that go to this theater and have been going to this theater for decades upon decades. My grandfather does it. He's been in the limelight a couple of times. And he enjoys it, and he knows about the shows because he gets that kind of newsreel. I don't know. We went to Drowsy Chaperone. I had no idea Drowsy Chaperone was going on.
Lower the price. I say maybe, honestly, probably lower the prices if they can, but then again, they put so much work, time, effort, money, unless they're really good at budgeting. So I think probably drop the price and maybe you have the advertising focus more towards that, not like using modern language or anything, but like just focus more on the aspects you want.
Make their ticket prices cheaper.
Pro shots. Hamilton did great on Disney Plus. I mean, I'm sure they got success from that, but really your show has to like become popular on Broadway before you can get anything like that. So it really comes down to like how you can get them in seats.
Again, it's the high school level. The high school and college level is the more including they are, and even at the regional level, the more these young people are going to be able to tell these stories and push these motives that they've been wanting to for years, but unfortunately cannot.
All right. What are some ways we can just bring live theater to more people in general, just anybody?
I think they're doing a great job with national tours, because I know at least here, a lot of our kids go see national tours because they can't. Because it comes to Jacksonville, and they just can't afford to go all the way to New York or Chicago. So national tours are a great way.
Actually, probably by doing shows that can actually teach people lessons, and not just like shows about, family problems or children or like, big family problems, instead of just actually having life lessons.
Given all these factors, it seems live theater could be stuck in a downward spiral if something doesn't change. This isn't a natural course we've seen, but something of our own doing. In 2021, the UK government cut live art spending by 50%, as if trying to kill it. How can we fix these problems?
Right. Just in general, what are some ways we can bring live theater to more people?
We can open more live theaters. We can spread the news about live theaters, and stop the stigma.
That's a good question. I think schools are doing a great job of it. Some of them. I know that there's some who just have it out for the arts like it's Footloose or anything. But, I think once you get into it, so say you go see a production at your high school, it's either going to be really, really bad or really, really good. So, but I think once you see it, you'll start seeing it more and more everywhere you go. I mean, your phone's always listening to you, right? So it'll just pop up on your feed for stuff. But I think they could advertise it more. Just be like, hey, are you interested in any of these things? And I know when people think of like live performances, when they think of that stuff, they think of the person on stage. They think of, but I've worked the tech more than I've been on the stage itself, and it's there's so many different areas. Whether you want to focus on actual moving set pieces, or building the set pieces, or painting, like it's literally, if you're interested in any of these things, I think that could be advertised more.
I think there's multiple, like if people have the, if people have the resources, there are people who use like churches to perform, for example. I think if you can just find people with the drive and passion to do it, there's resources and places. You can like perform theater anywhere, honestly. Hi. You can perform theater anywhere, honestly.
I mean, doing what we're doing right now. I mean, I think we're doing a pretty damn good job. But, you know, it's just ignorant people. Like, so a lot of people are like, you're too young and immature to really appreciate it yet. But, I mean, you can agree with me, right? Mm-hmm. But, you know, I feel like it can, like, everybody can appreciate it. And you might not love it, but at least I feel like everyone can acknowledge the hard work and dedication that goes into doing something like this. And I think it's important. It's very important. Like, if you could just like, if they could feel the joy that I feel when I watch a show and I know it's good, or I do a show and I know it's good, like it's so socially and culturally important to me.
Like I said, thematic things are what people look at. A lot of people enjoy more realistic ideas. Some people don't enjoy fictional things that much. I don't know. Most adults, I believe, enjoy realistic stories, relatable characters, that sort of thing. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure because I thought the theater was doing that already.
It's all a community thing. Everyone is afraid to tell these stories because of what these stories convey, but I feel like if everybody chips in and everybody moves forward with each other, these communities can really form.
Just like having a high school program or a local program that isn't necessarily like big time and like got all these famous people doing it, but like just kids having fun.
I would say more community productions and community theaters.
Probably by encouraging them more. Like, our school does it, but we advertise it around the school, but we don't have it basically, like, I mean, I wouldn't say, you know, like, door to door, you know, like the real estate, but more as, like, advertising it with friends and that kind of stuff.
Making more, I guess, like, high school versions of shows, because I've gone to some art schools and some just regular public high schools, and they've put on beautiful productions, amazing, and I think while, like, yeah, it's not as cool and big as going to see a big Broadway tour, it has the same feel, and it's even more amazing to see, like, 16-year-olds and even younger to put so much work into something while they're also doing school, which is a pretty big commitment already, and then also working for some of them. It would be very beneficial if there were more funds for high school theater and stuff like that.
Minor programs, high school theater programs.
Making it more accessible, maybe having nights where the ticket prices are lower in their donation, or having theater accessible online and having a smaller fee for an online viewing of it.
I would really like to start, like, I wish people recorded more Broadway shows when they got off. Like, we should have, like, this big database of, like, all the shows that have ever been performed, because there's some great shows. Like, when I did Urinetown, I looked everywhere for a decent production of it, and it doesn't exist. So I wish that we professionally recorded a lot more.
So, yeah.
Alright, thank you.
That was it?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, that's it.
Sweet.
Yeah, alright, that's it, thank you.
I don't
Alright.
know.
That's it, thank you.
Okay.
Alright, thank you, that's it.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you. That's it, thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, thank you. That's it, thank you.
Yep.
Alright, thank you.
It seems as if there is a solution to all this. Ever since the pandemic, people have stayed in for entertainment and realized that it's cheaper to do so. To reach the most people possible, we need to make theater more accessible. Here at school, tickets are less than $20 and we have a diverse and large crowd for every show. We've had anywhere from middle schoolers all the way to retirees. The largest problem it seems audience face is the cost. Ticket prices have only gone up since 2017 and seem to be continuing that trajectory, and yet the number of productions has plummeted. Should theaters offer more shows and at lower prices, more people could attend because of the increased opportunities. While this cost will initially hurt the theaters, they have ways to recoup this through various new grants, donations from the theatergoers, and even federal aid. In 2024, the Biden administration approved a $211 million aid to the National Endowments of the Arts. By lowering prices, the increase in viewership would even out over time financially for the theaters. While we are currently killing live theater, it is also very possible to revive it to unseen levels. All it takes is us as one community. As the interviewees have shown, there are plenty of other good ideas that they can contribute as well. Student nights are a great idea for those looking to go, but might not have the funds to do it on a regular basis. Pro Shots is a great idea for people to be able to see Broadway shows, especially considering they'd be getting the money, it wouldn't be bootlegged. However, all it requires is them wanting to do it and helping us out.